Hey friend, this is episode number 574 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so.
Hello, welcome to episode number 574. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be talking in the Business Nugget all about some common mistakes you might be making in your business right now. And I want to make sure that you aren't making these business mistakes. Before we get into this week's Business Nugget, let's pull back the curtain and find out what's been going on this past week in my world. Let's get into the garden. It is in harvest production mode, which is so freaking exciting. I opened the farm stand this week officially to kick off the 2026 harvest season. Wow, so exciting. I am in over my head with the weeds though, and I have reached out to one of my friends and said, hey, is your son looking for some work? I think he's like junior high age level. Does he want to make some dollars? I need somebody to help me pull all of these weeds out. And so we're going to go meet for breakfast this week, and he's going to be there. He wants to propose a business opportunity with me. So I just need help pulling weeds. I need to get it back under control and then I can manage it. But right now I cannot manage it because there's still so much to do in the harvesting aspect, which is crazy. I did pull one of my corn yesterday to see how close it was for harvesting, and it's close. The first batch is really close, but the corn actually has some cancer, or that particular stalk does. So it's very curious to see, and I bet it's more due to all the rain we've had. And so I'm hoping that the rest of the corn does well, but we shall see. I did have a boatload of rain come in this past weekend, dumped 3.5 inches of rain into my garden and laid down my corn, or some of it. Thankfully, I went out there yesterday and most of it has stood itself back upright, just like when you get drenched, if a bucket of water were to get dumped on you from above, you talk about being drenched and everything that you're holding or carrying or even wearing just like falls just from the sheer weight of the water. So my poor corn was like a wet dog. Their fur was soaking wet and it just kind of laid down. And thankfully, most of it has found its way back, pointing up to the sun, which is good. Okay, so let's talk about books. I finished Q is for Query by Sue Grafton. It's book number 17 in the Kinsey Milhone series, murder mystery, 5 stars. Again, always huge fan. Sue Grafton, very sad that she passed early without finishing this series. Let's get into the house content. My insulation, spray foam and rock wool are in, and sheetrock started yesterday. But in the process of spray foam and now sheetrock, they have damaged 2 of my brand new doors, which is so incredibly disappointing because they are custom order doors and they took forever to get. The company will be taking care of them, but the simple fact that I now have to order new doors, I'm just glad that there are doors up. Even though they're damaged, I can wait to the very last moment so all subs are gone and install these 2 new doors. And I'm really just hoping I could buy the doors themselves and not the whole slab. I need to get with the manufacturer to find that out. So yeah. Okay, let's get into the first segment of the series, which is all about unhinged comments. unhinged comments from people on the internet. So I kind of feel like the internet was a little bit tame this past week. I don't know what it was, but we have Michael, Jimmy, Devo, Joseph, and Virgil to thank for their comments. And I had 2 women actually attack me yesterday about planting a non-invasive flower in my produce garden, which they're claiming sweet alyssum is a non-native and is invasive. And oh my gosh, I just don't understand strangers on the internet. I don't know how it's helpful to attack somebody. I don't know what does that accomplish? Does it make you feel good to get that off your chest? I'm seeing it more and more, not just in my gardening niche, but seeing other creators talk about just the unhinged comments that people are making to them. There's one girl that's doing a trash series on her Instagram where she's literally rolling the trash bucket down and then talking about unhinged people that come out of the woodwork and share their opinions freely without understanding consequences, or like, was that a welcome? Like, it was not a gateway for you to be this way. Like, really. So I've actually thought about sharing a series over on my Instagram where like I'm wearing a judge's cloak and a gavel, and I put a podium in the middle of my garden and I talk about an unhinged garden comment. I think I might do that in stories, not necessarily as a reel, although it probably would go more viral as a reel. We'll see. I need to get the get up because I'm just like baffled. So I accidentally deleted those 2 women that were yelling at me, but I did manage to screenshot these other humans that left me lovely comments. So let's get into them. So Michael says to me, so it has to be a windy day too, LOL, which was a comment against what you should be growing in the month of June in the South. And I guess my video, there was wind that day. Like, what? Jimmy says I am a tad bit late. You are a tad late. For what? I don't know, but he thinks so. Devo says, stick your finger in, but, and rub the ground around the plant. It will help. Those were his words. I don't know what that means. Joseph says, that soil is horrible. I don't know how they grow anything. I responded back, Joseph, you don't have to grow in it. Shrug shoulders emoji. I grow just fine in it. And I actually had him back in my messages or in the comment section yesterday that told me I needed to add compost in and I would do better. You know nothing about me, Joseph. You don't know how much compost is in there, but goodbye. I blocked you. I don't have time for this. And then finally, Virgil, city boys use cutters. Country boys snap off. And that was, I think, in relation to snapping off okra off of the plant. So thanks, Virgil. I actually like a clean cut just simply for the fact that I have a farm stand and I don't want to give exposed fruit to my customers, let alone me, for like bacteria to get into the fruit. Like, let's do common practice. That would be great. That wraps up this week's Unhinged Comments. All right, moving right along, let's get into this week's Search Bar Confessions. So I Googled a lot this week. I started off with who was the god of water because I couldn't remember, and I was having a conversation with one of my customers. I Googled what exactly are tomatillos because I wasn't sure if they were part of the nightshade family. Turns out they are. I Googled essential oils for preventing chiggers because that was something that popped up between this week and last week. I Googled the Alamo Inn on Dutton Ranch. I wanted to know where that motel was located. So the new Yellowstone series or spinoff series is called Dutton Ranch, and they did a big chunk of their filming around me. last year, which was so cool because it infused money into our local economy. Like one of the mom and pop food shops that I eat at, it's called Carmelita's. She's known for her pupusas, and she had late night breakfast tacos and regular street tacos ordered for the crew multiple times, which was super cool for her and her family. So anyways, I wanted to know where the Alamo Inn on Dutton Ranch was located. I Googled Indiana Jones, will there be another? I Googled how to roast a pumpkin. I Googled the 7-Eleven code, all in. So if you go to 7-Eleven right now and until I believe July 11th, so on the 7th of June, on the 11th of June, on the 7th of July, on the 11th of July, if you text 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven, you text this word all in, ALLIN, you will receive 50 cents off your gas per gallon, which is really awesome. I think up to 30 gallons. So text message to 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven, and then the word you use is all in. I Googled about Poppy AI. I Googled rat trap bucket method. I Googled how to touch up scratches on metal. I Googled the thump thump drag ghost story funny. There was a ghost story when I was a kid that I would tell that was literally like a thump thump drag noise. And I don't have anybody in my world that will remember that, but my husband was making that noise recently to describe somebody else. And I was like, it brought that childhood memory up, but I don't remember the joke or the story. But it's a funny ghost story. I just don't remember what it was. But it's the thump thump drag, whatever that funny ghost story that kids tell, or I told evidently. And finally, can you grow ginger in Texas 8B? I would really like to grow my own ginger, and I don't know if I can be successful or not. According to Google and the Texas A&M Ag Extension, you can, but I need to do some more research. So that wraps up this week's Search Bar Confessions. Okay, let's just dive right on in now into this week's business nugget, which is common business mistakes you might be making in your business right now in June of 2026, and I want to make sure that you are not. So the first mistake is using AI as your entire strategy instead of a support tool. So this is the mistake that businesses are now making that I'm seeing across the board. Like if I can tell your language is ChatGPT, you've got too much AI in your business. So businesses are now using AI to produce faster, but not necessarily to think clearer. AI can help you write and organize, research, summarize, automate, and speed things up. I use it to help me build out my show notes, but I am saying, here is my podcast transcript. I want you to help me write a 1-sentence synopsis that starts with "in this episode" and focuses on the business nugget. And so it will look at my transcript, it will analyze it, and then it will spit that out. And then I will make sure it sounds like something I would legitimately write. And if it's not, I will rewrite it, but at least helps me formulate my thoughts. AI cannot replace your point of view, your customer understanding, your lived experience, and your actual decision making. So I also have been recently testing a new AI by, I think it's 1P Creative. Anyways, theirs is called the Format Finder. And they've got like a brainstorm tool and a chat tool and an idea generator. And so I was like, let's see how this functions in the garden world, because gardening is so day by day specific. Like my seeds are in the ground. They are now at the production level. And so when it's giving me ideas, it's acting as if that thing hasn't occurred yet. So it has no real world scope of where I might be or where a fellow gardener might be in their garden journey right now at this moment. It has like sparked some ideas, but it's not like it's not all that accurate in the moment. Like what I'm doing right now. Like it was like, here's your shot list. Go do this thing. And I'm like, it was like, show the soil is wet 7 inches down. And I was like, how exactly am I supposed to do that? You do realize I don't have x-ray vision. And it's like, oh, my bad. Like, what? So, yeah, that's okay. So this current business mistake about using AI as your whole strategy versus just using it as a support tool. This is coming from current 2026 reporting around AI becoming deeply embedded in marketing, audience targeting, customer personalization, and daily business operations. Business Insider recently covered Indeed's marketing approach where their CMO talked about marketers becoming AI smart while still keeping the human element central. So here's the thing. AI is not a future trend anymore, right? We're in the trenches with AI. It's in literally almost every piece of software that I use to help operate my business. Like it's ChatGPT because that's AI tools right there at your fingertips. Canva has AI. Photoshop has AI. Like there's so much AI embedded in the things that we're using day to day. Google has AI. Like that's the results it generates first. It is helping you like compress what is out there on the internet through a bunch of different articles that it finds or thinks it's relevant. And then you have to like dissect whether or not it is relevant or not. Like you have to go look at the source to see where the source is coming from. Who is the source? Is the source credible? Like you're still having to do all of that. So AI is not a future trend anymore. It's already inside the tools businesses are using. So the mistake is not using AI. The mistake is using AI as a substitute for your strategy, for your judgment, and for your brand voice. The businesses that win with AI are not necessarily the ones creating the most content. They are the ones using AI to support clearer thinking, better execution, and more human customer experiences because faster chaos is still chaos. You can't speed up the chaos if you're not clear on what it is that you're doing, and AI can't make that clear for you. You still have to have the human element. Okay, business mistake number 2 that people are making, that you might be making in 2026, creating more content without fixing your actual messaging. So the mistake is you're creating more posts, you're creating more reels, you're creating more emails, more carousels, more I just need to be consistent in the things I'm doing, so I'm creating more. But if your message is not clear, more content just makes the confusion louder to your audience. So this is part of a current 2026 content marketing trend. It's part audience pattern synthesis, and current marketing coverage is pointing to AI and personalization and trust in content strategy as major priorities. But your audience, specifically your audience, struggles with unclear messaging coming from you and second guessing what it is that you're trying to do, like what it is that you're trying to offer. And which is a result of you having stagnant growth and not knowing how to talk about what you do in a way that makes people care about the thing that you have. So AI is making us think that it is so easy to just make the content. You can go into ChatGPT and give it prompts and say, help me make content. And it's going to spit out a boatload of things to help you make content. But if your messaging isn't clear, your audience is going to be confused, and then nobody actually starts into your funnel. So business owners that are producing more content because AI is making it easier are really struggling because their message, your message, is muddy. And it's not solving what the customer's real problem actually is. You're scaling confusion. And that's not what you should be doing. So before creating more, I want you to ask yourself, do people understand what it is that I do? Do people know that it is actually for them? Do they know why it matters? Do they know what to do next? Do they know what button to click, what thing to do in your funnel, what's next for them? Content without clarity is just noise with a Canva template. I mean, let's be honest, we're using AI too much. Okay, business mistake number 3, you are ignoring first-party data. So this is a mistake. Businesses are relying too much on social media engagement, platform analytics, and vibes instead of the information they actually own. So what is first-party data? It is like your email addresses, customer feedback and testimonials, your actual purchase history from your customers. If you have quizzes that they're taking, what is the result of those quizzes or surveys, or what are your customer preferences? First-party data is your direct audience insight. So recently I did on my Instagram stories, I said, hey, Sunday garden Q&A. And I put up a question box. Literally in the past, I don't get a whole lot of responses, but this one I got responses. And what does that tell me? It tells me where my customers are right now in their gardening journeys. So not only did I screenshot the question box responses, I answered every single one of them, but now I have a bucket of ideas of content to create because that is where my audience is right now. That is first-party data. So the Rhode Island Small Business Development Center 2026 Marketing Trends Report says first-party data is becoming essential because privacy changes, reduced tracking, and platform rule changes mean businesses can no longer rely on third-party data the same way. So it's not just about a marketing nerd thing. If platforms change how they track, like we literally only can access what they want us to access. I mean, Apple Podcasts is one of the biggest ones that doesn't give us all of the data and hasn't since they allowed podcasts to be a thing. So if platforms change how they track, show, recommend, or report our data back to us, business owners are going to need a way to understand their audience without depending entirely on a rented platform, which is Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest. So, likes are not a business foundation. Reach is not a customer relationship. If your audience only lives on Instagram or TikTok or Etsy or Substack or any other platform you don't actually have control of, that actually is a little too much hope this thing keeps working mentality. Again, we literally have access to these free tools to go out and find customers, but if you are not in control of the end point, an email address, you do not actually have access to those humans, right? They're just in somebody else's funnel. Mistake number 4, over-relying on one platform. I literally, since January, this 5 1s, part of the 5 1s is focusing on one platform and getting really, really, really good at one platform. But I didn't really focus on one platform, even though I did focus on one platform. I have my Instagram content auto-publishing to Facebook, which is a second platform. Now, the caveat is I'm not trying over on Facebook, but it is going over there. And here is what is going on in that capacity. My Facebook is growing without me trying. There seems to be a lot more interaction coming from Facebook than I'm actually getting on Instagram. So here's a mistake. One traffic source, one social platform, one lead source, one marketplace, one algorithm, one viral reel you keep trying to recreate like it owes you money. I mean, how many of us are doing that? You get something that goes viral and you start looking at how to do it again. How can I go analyze and how to do it again? And That's legitimately what everybody's training us to do. How to analyze other people's viral content to make it go viral for us, or how we are analyzing our own content that does go viral, how to make a repeat of that. So this is a strategic interpretation from the same first-party data and platform risk conversation. The source trend is that privacy changes, reduced tracking, and evolving platform rules are making owned audience relationships more important. That's coming out of the University of Rhode Island, as I mentioned previously in mistake number 3. When your entire business depends on one platform behaving nicely, you do not really have a stable marketing system. You have dependency on that platform. And I see that, even though that is what my focus has been, one platform, I do see how that can be problematic. So the goal is not to be everywhere. The goal is to stop letting one platform hold your whole entire business hostage. So you should be considering an email list. I have ManyChat going, and I'm not collecting emails unless they come in and buy from me. And the sheer volume of ManyChat automations that are firing daily is so large that it's jumping me within a few days, jumping me into the next bracket of pay with the ManyChat software, except that I'm not getting an email address. It's literally just triggering an automation that's not asking for information. And I don't really want it to ask for information at the point that it's firing, because it's very in your face. And I'm trying to be soft in that approach, not in your face, slimy marketer, right? So I have to go in and delete contacts out of my ManyChat platform so that I don't jump into that next tier, because the contacts that are storing in my ManyChat software do not have email addresses. Yet ManyChat will charge me for that contact, which is only a username. There's no other data attached to it. So the goal is not to be everywhere. Like I said, the goal is to stop letting one platform hold your whole business hostage. So build the email list, strengthen your referrals, improve your website, nurture past buyers, and create more than one path into your business. Mistake number 5 that you might be making: treating automation like a personality replacement. So here's a mistake. Businesses are automating so much that the brand of the business starts feeling generic. Automated emails, AI replies, chatbots, workflows, schedulers, customer service tools, all of that is helpful in your business until it all starts sounding like it was assembled in the boringest room of boringest rooms ever. So this particular mistake came from a current reporting trend around AI-powered personalization, customer engagement, and operational efficiency. Business Insider's coverage of Indeed's AI use specifically emphasized AI-powered targeting and efficiency alongside the need for authentic human connection. Tech Radar also recently pointed out that AI-generated content can sound polished while still missing cultural context, emotional relevance, and real audience resonance. The more AI and automation that show up in your business, the more human judgment matters. So clean copy is not the same as effective communication. Polished does not mean that it is personal to your actual audience. You have to inject you, the human, into your business every single day. So just because something can be automated does not mean it should feel robotic. Use the system, but make sure you are still part of it. Business has to have you in it. You cannot skip that part. Mistake number 6, not tracking what is actually working. And I will shout this one from the rooftops as much as I humanly can, because I track everything I can track in my business. So here's the mistake that businesses are making, and you might be making this mistake. You're still guessing. I think Instagram works. I think this freebie is converting. I think people like this offer. I think this is where leads are coming from. Listen, you need data. You need hard, real-life numbers. Demand General Reports 2026 B2B marketing trend coverage specifically points to data challenges, scattered data, and missing data as barriers to confident decision making. As marketing gets more complex, guessing gets more expensive. You cannot guess. You have to base what you're doing in your business off of legit statistics. If you do not know what is working, you cannot make grounded decisions in your business. You are just rearranging what you think is working, and then it's going to keep not working. So you don't need a humongo spreadsheet. You just need to track the basics, where leads are coming from, what content is actually driving clicks, what emails, like the types of emails are getting replies, what offers are converting, what customers are the best fit for what you're doing, and what people continually ask for. You cannot make grounded decisions from vibes. Like, you can't. You have to have data. Moving on, business mistake number 7, building offers nobody has clearly asked for. People are literally disappearing down the rabbit hole of creation mode. Building an entire offer or a course or a membership or templates or whatever it might be before testing it in public, before beta testing it or even alpha testing the initial concept. Then when it doesn't sell, they assume it's the audience that's the problem. If you are struggling with this, I need you to go out and start asking your audience questions. You need to understand what they're asking you, what their objections are, how they're purchasing from you, how they're replying to you, what their actual behavior is. So talk about the idea first with your audience. Listen for their language back to you. Watch what they're responding to. Test the problem before building it. If you go through the line of thought of, I make this whole thing now because I'm in this bubble and I need to get it done, and then you hit publish and crickets, it's not a business strategy that is smart. Most people are doing this because they're taught, let's get that thing out there, let's hit publish, and then let's find the audience for it. And that's not how it works. Yes, you need to be mindful, thoughtful even, about what it is that you're wanting to create and looking up via research to see if the model supports the thing you want to create. Is there a gap? Is it already being sold? Who's currently selling it? Are they making money? Can you tell if they're making money? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Has somebody already proven that this niche, this industry, whatever, is something that people buy, spend money in? Yes, go out and then do your research, come up with the idea, but then start putting it out there and asking questions and seeing what kind of response you get. Mistake number 8, confusing visibility with trust. Are you doing this? Are you chasing more reach when you should be chasing more resonance? Being seen is not the same thing as being understood. A bigger audience does not automatically fix unclear messaging or a weak offer or your inconsistent follow-up skills or a poor customer experience. A 2026 small business marketing trend piece notes that brand trust is becoming more important alongside AI, first-party data, and customer experience. This is from Boomer Productions. Your brand materials also point to the audience craving clarity, sustainable growth, and marketing that feels aligned instead of forced. Visibility is what gets people in the room. Trust is what makes them stay, listen, buy, refer, and come back. Last night I had in my DMs a girl's emoji crying eyes, I don't even know what they're called. Anyways, it was her face and she's crying. I wrote back and said it was related to container gardening advice on my stories. And I said, hey, I'm a little confused by this sad girl crying face. Is there something I can help you with? And she said, oh my gosh, that was kind of like a butt dial. I love your content. I love all of your videos. I didn't mean to send that. And I was like, thank you for clarifying because that really freaked me out. Why am I eliciting sad crying tears on gardening content? But we got that cleared up. A lot of businesses don't need more people to see them. They just need the right people to understand them. And that is the difference between visibility and trust. We're at business mistake number 9, skipping customer retention because new leads feel shinier. Here's a mistake. Businesses are chasing new people while barely nurturing the humans who have already said yes. New followers are fun. Don't get me wrong. I have a follower ad going every single day, and new inquiries definitely feel great. New leads make it look like things are moving, but your past buyers, your current clients, your current email subscribers, your current referral partners, and your current warm audience, which on Instagram or even TikTok or even Facebook is your stories. That is the warmest audience you have on a social platform. Those people are not boring. They are your actual business revenue. So if customer experience and personalization are becoming more central, retention cannot be an afterthought. You have to figure out how to maintain that fan attraction. It's part of you growing your business. Retention can look like better onboarding, better follow-up, thoughtful check-ins, like checking in with somebody who has talked to you about X, Y, and Z in the past, smarter upsells in your funnel, a referral system for your customers, educating them more, and making the actual buying experience with you feel less like a transaction and more like a relationship. And finally, business mistake number 10 you might be making, trying to scale chaos. If the back end of your business is all duct taped together, your growth is going to expose that. More customers in your business is going to expose that. More content will expose that. More team members will expose it. More offers will expose the duct tape. For solo and small team business owners, scaling is not just about more sales. It's got to be about whether the business can actually hold the volume without breaking you. You can't outgrow a broken system that's duct taped together by adding more volume. You just get a bigger mess to figure out. So this is where your backend systems, your onboarding, your documentation, your SOPs, your boundaries, your content workflows, your business planning actually all matter. All right, those are 10 business mistakes that people are making right now in 2026 in their business. You might be making one of these or a few of these. And if you are, I want you to course correct right now at this podcast episode and shore things up, rip off the duct tape, make sure you're using super glue or something. But seriously, I want you to think about what mistakes you're currently making and get them fixed ASAP. Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Until next time. And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.